Hi guys and welcome. We're getting straight into the video today. I'm going to be making some boomerang tie backs. So I've got the curtain folded in half. I've got a French ruler, and where the centre of the tie back is, this is going to be on the fold. So when it's open, you've got your one piece. Now she wants the curtains to be 29 inch wide by 5.5 in the centre. So I don't need to add seam allowance. I'm going to add 2 inch on the side, so that's 2 inch both sides, which is the 4 inch to give me the width that she wants, and then I'm going to add 1 inch for the top and the bottom for the seam allowance. Right, so 33, that's 15, 16.5. I need to measure in. Now it's only got centimetres on here, so it's not got the inch, so I'm just going to mark that to where that measurement is. So I'm just going to come round on that bottom, and then at the bottom here where it curves up, I'm going to make sure that that comes straight across in the centre. Right, and then that measures just under 5 inch there, so I'm going to take that up till I've got my 6.5 in the centre, and that's allowed me seam allowance. So I'm going to bring that along. I'm going to cut that down there, and then this bit needs to come narrower because this is where the D-ring is going to be. So I'm just going to get this French ruler and just get a good curve on that to bring that down, like so. So by the time that's had the seam allowance on, it'll be thinner, you know, to take the D-ring back. Right, so let me just cut that first one. Right, so that's the first piece for the tie back. Now she does want 4 pairs, so I'm going to need another 7 of these. So I'm going to cut the rest out off camera. Normally I would stiffen tie backs, but this has got a backing on. It's like the blackout, you know, the blackout fabric. So I'm not going to be stiffening these because these will be will hold themselves in place when they're done. And one thing to bear in mind when you are cutting your tie back pieces out is that you've got your fabric going the same way as the curtains. So because this is like a chenille, you've got a smooth and rough, aren't you, sort of thing. It's a bit like velvet, isn't it? So you want it going the same way as your curtain is, because otherwise you'll get shading, because it's more darker that way than it is this way. And same with if you've got a patterned one with florals on, you want to make sure that your pattern's going the same way as your curtains. So that would be the top of the tie back, and that's the bottom. You just have it going the same way. So what I'm going to do now then, I'm going to actually just press the top of these tie backs over. Now obviously I allowed 1 inch, didn't I, on the for the top and the bottom, so I'm just making sure that this is about 1/2 inch. Okay, then I'm just going to get that, put this one this way, and then I'm just going to start clipping these in place. I'm going to put one there, one at the bottom, one at the opposite side. Just get those, and then just keep putting the clips ever so often. You don't need to have a million in, just a few. Right, so that's the first one done. So I'm going to do the others, but I'm going to do it off camera. Right, so I've got my grey cotton on, and I'm just going to start stitching round the outside, leaving the seam allowance, which was about 1/2 inch. Oops, going away from me there. Right, so I'm just snip this corner. Get some scissors because them snippers aren't the best. Yeah, so I'm going to snip that so that when it's poked through, you're going to have a good corner. And then the same on that bottom one. Just take a little bit of that off. Right, so I'm going to poke that through on the opposite side. Right, so before I actually top stitch this in place, I'm going to go and press this flat first. Right, so the best time now is to press this shape flat. Pressing it out as you're going along. I'm going to do that on both sides. Right, so that's all pressed. So it's just need to top stitch it and then put the D-rings on. So I'm stitching quite close to the top. Okay, so just lining that up as you go along. And this little prong here on my foot, I'm using the centre of that as my seam allowance gauge. Back tacking at the end. Right, so I'm going to turn it this way and put the D-ring on. So I'm going to slot that on, and then I'm going to bring that back and line up the top there. So I allowed 2 inch, didn't I, for this? So with the seam allowance and the turnover, that is what I've allowed. I'm going to start at the bottom of that, give it a good back tack, go to the end, and then again do a back tack. Right, let me get the other one on the opposite side. And when you're putting the D-ring on, it's going through, and you've got the straight bit underneath the turnover. And again, turning it over and lining up the top. And this is quite thick, so you don't want the flimsy needle in here. You want a needle that's quite thick. And that is your boomerang tie back. Okay, so tie backs. My sister had asked me to make her these tie backs. She'd bought some curtains for a guest room that she's just decorated and bought some new curtains. But the tie backs for a pair was going to be £59 for 2 of these. I know. So she asked me if I'd make her some. So she bought the smallest pair of curtains, which cost £40, and I've got 2 pair of tie backs that would have cost £118. And she's got some fabric left for some cushion covers if she wants it. And then she's actually had some other curtains. I think she got those from Next as well, and they didn't do tie backs for them, so I made her some for those as well. But it's so easy to make boomerang tie backs up, as you've just seen. But it's another option, is if you do want tie backs to match and they're either super expensive to buy or they don't do them, buy the smallest pair of curtains that you can and make them out of that. Or you could ask if you could buy meterage. Sometimes they let you, sometimes they don't. It just depends if they can get their hands on meterage. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys, and it's been useful for you. Thanks for watching. Till next time, bye for now.